Okay, it's day 3 of having the chickens, the quarters cross hens. Today I'm gonna clean out and move them, separate them I should say, because they're getting a bit crowded in there. They're getting big already. I'm gonna make room for you guys. Let's get moved, guys. So because the temperatures are going to be dropping below 50 degrees, we are going to keep them in these brooders for probably another week, week and a half, because we just don't want them to get sick or anything. But ideally, I would really like to get them out on some pasture because it's just a lot easier to take care of these Cornish crosses that way. But I also have to wait for Matthew to build the new chicken tractors, which he will be doing this weekend, and we'll be showing you guys a little bit of that. Plus he's going to be making some more of these covers here to go on top of these brooders, because that's what protects our chickens from, you know, mice or rats or anything that wants to get in there and eat baby chicks. I wouldn't say that. Look at they determined. Yeah. What are you doing? Are you looking for trouble, Sally? Sally, hey! Oh, she's determined. What are you doing? Playing in the dirt? These are my banana peppers that are just doing so good, but and look at all of those. So I'm gonna put them outside. I'm gonna put a lot of these outside, probably like 4 or 5.
So we're transitioning then. We start off there by Saturday. They're going out in the week.
Put 5 of them in here. And I'm putting these in at night. Well, it's kind of night. It's like almost 8 o'clock. Sun's not out, so I think that these guys will be okay. You see how they're starting to curl? They're ready. I might be able to put the 6th one right here. Peppers do like company, so maybe it'll be all right. So we'll find out. Here, we'll just give the chickens some scratch and let them out. Because it's going to be hot today. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. These guys seem to be a lot happier since we separated them. They got a little bit more room going on in here. So all I'm doing is I'm giving them all fresh water, because I make sure that these guys have fresh water at least 2 to 3 times a day, because you just don't want them to have like mucky water or anything, because you got to remember that's your food too. So another thing that I have to do is collect eggs, and my chickens are like laying everywhere. They haven't been laying in the boxes lately. Not really sure why. So I don't know, they like playing hide and go seek, I guess. So we almost got a bucket of eggs. I don't think the pigs are up yet. Probably still sleeping. There you guys are. Hi, good morning. Yep, you guys got food. Don't look like I gotta come in and get dirty with you guys. I can see from here. Yeah. So they're doing pretty good. So we're gonna go back in, get our pizza going. So the peppers made it through. They look They look really good still. So we're gonna start off by sauteing our onions in some butter and letting that just slow cook for about 45 minutes so that it gets nice and caramelized for our pizza. Okay, for this recipe, I'm going to be using 1.5 cups of water, 2.25 teaspoons of yeast, a tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm using avocado oil, and this makes 2 pizza crusts. And now we're going to add 3 to 4 cups of flour. I'm going to start off by 2 cups. Mix that up first and then add as we go. Oop, I guess we need to plug it in. Here's 3 cups. So because this is still pretty sticky, I'm going to add probably half of a cup more flour because it's still pretty sticky. Try not to make a mess like me. So far that was 3.5 cups. I specifically wrote down 3 to 4 cups that this recipe normally will take, depending on the weather. I'll leave the recipe for the pizza crust in the description box below. After about 3 minutes of kneading this, I'm just checking it to see if it has enough gluten formation. And I do that by stretching it a little bit to see if I can stretch it enough so that I can see through it. And this is still a little bit sticky, but this is good. This is how I want the dough to look. I'm gonna let this rest for about an hour. I'm gonna use this same mixing bowl to make, and the same recipe to make some cheesy bread. Well, the same dough recipe. We're gonna add other things in here with it. I'm gonna cover this. So I'm gonna use the exact same dough recipe for this, and then I'll bring you back when I start adding other things in. So with this, I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'll chop up about a handful of pepperoni. Okay, so I went ahead and let this go for about 5 minutes. And it's like it's a sticky dough. It's not, and it's supposed to be. Put a generous amount of oil on the bottom. And now we're just gonna pop it in the pan. And just spread it out with your hands. I'm gonna cover it with some plastic wrap and let it sit for about 2 hours in a warm place. I'm gonna put this in the oven with the light on to keep it warm. So now that our onions have caramelized a little bit, we're gonna add our peppers. And we're gonna get those nice and caramelized a little bit too. Cook them for a while, get all the water out before we use them on our pizza. And our onions and peppers looking really good. They look like they're about done. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that heat off. I'm using some of my homemade sweet basil sauce for my pizza sauce because that's our favorite sauce to use. And that's basically what I'm going to be canning with our tomatoes this year, is just the sweet basil sauce and probably some salsa. Now, I started to grate all of my cheese after I received a comment from someone that said that they were surprised that I didn't grate my own cheese. Little did I know that some shredded cheeses contain additives that might be harmful to your gut. And one of them was called natamycin. These added ingredients that they put into the shredded cheese, they prevent the cheese from clumping and molding. Another ingredient in shredded cheese is cellulose, also known as wood pulp. This is generally harmless and food safe. However, some companies use wood pulp or chemicals in shredded cheese. So we shred our own cheese now. We don't buy the shredded cheese anymore, just to be safe. Now I cooked this down for about 15 minutes to get it a bit thicker. Now that the pizza dough has risen for an hour, I'm just going to go ahead and punch it down and dust my table with a little bit of flour, and then I'm going to divide it in 2 halves because this recipe makes 2 pizza crusts. Since I started making my own pizza crust, I have never went back to buying the store-bought pizza crusts because it tastes so much better. And you can also meal prep this pizza dough and just make like 4 or 5 batches of it and put it in the freezer. Just put a little bit of more yeast in the recipe so that way it will have the same rise. Or another thing you can do, and actually I was actually thinking about doing this on this day, but I had other things that I needed to get on doing, so I didn't. But in the future I'm going to be freezing a lot of these pizzas this way because I do have a few extra cookie sheets that I could use. So, and I'm thinking, I mean, I just wrap them up in some saran wrap and maybe some foil, and then just pop them in the freezer and just take them out when I'm ready to use it, because we eat pizza a lot, and with garden season coming up, I need to do a lot of meal prep for our dinners and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking for ideas right now. But on this pizza, I just used my caramelized onions, pepperoni, some mozzarella, parmesan, bacon bits, and then I put it in my 450 degree oven, and I'm cooking it for 30 minutes. This is one of those double dough rollers, and it has a 4-inch wide roller and a 2.5-inch wide roller, and I love this thing. Picked it up from the grocery store for $5. So now on to the second pizza, and I'm going to be making like a garlic crust for this pizza, and all I did was melt a little bit of butter, and then I put some garlic powder in it, and I'm just mixing it up. And I'm just gonna spread it all nice and evenly on the pizza dough. The only difference with this pizza is that it has a butter garlic crust, and I put some banana peppers on this pizza. Other than that, it was the same. Sweet basil sauce, mozzarella cheese, caramelized onions and peppers, pepperoni, and parmesan with banana peppers. I like meal prepping these pizzas in the morning and then not having to cook in the evening on days that I just have a lot to do, like with the garden and the animals. It just makes it a lot easier for me. Now back to the pepperoni crazy bread. So all I'm doing is putting on a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to use some of my homemade garlic scape pesto that has Romano and Parmesan. And I'm just going to dollop that on. After that, I'm just going to get in there with my hands and just like massage it just to get it nicely distributed. And after I pull out the last pizza, I'm going to pop in the crazy bread. Now I'm gonna turn the temperature down to 400 degrees and I'm gonna cook this for 30 minutes. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, after the 30 minutes, you're going to put your cheese on. Pop it back in for about 10 more minutes. Nice and cheesy. Ooh, look at that. That looks amazing. Ideally, you'd want to let this sit for until it like gets kind of a lot cooler than what I did. I didn't wait, but you want to wait so that way it finishes cooking on the inside. Well, that's my morning, guys. I'm gonna go hop in the shower, but if I don't come back and see you guys, I will see you on the next one. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.